What are you doing?
Like, oh my god.
I don't even know what's going on.
Don't forget cards at RitaYanez.com, and so am I. Under your bed.
Turn on the light! Turn on the light!
Hey there, Sagittarius. This is your weekly reading for the week of November 30th. I hope that your holidays are off to a good start and that things are no longer dysfunctional. You know, mine was. Even though there was only 4 of us there, I've told people, me and my 3 kids, and I thought that it was going to be under control. Just goes to show you when the universe wants to make people act weird, it's just gonna happen. People are just gonna give into it. So glad that it's over, which is so sad to say. Now we're coming off of some funky energy because we're still working with the Uranus-Pluto square, that even though it's never going to be exact again for a very long time, that they're within a degree of exact at this time. So we still have some problems that are going to be worked out by the end of the month, or at least hopefully they will be, in that even if the disruption is something that's kind of a pain in the butt, you're going to be over it easier than the adults are, because it won't be so difficult for you, because you guys are more malleable. It's easier for you to flow into different situations and to release, let go, relax, go with the flow kind of thing. So I think that's great for you. It's so much better when people don't forget how to do that trick, because they get so wrapped up in the adult world that they forget what it's like to just live in the moment like you do. And that's really what makes people old. I think that's what happens. That's what the aging process is. I think that people forget how to have fun. Sun in Sagittarius squaring Neptune and Pisces over the weekend. Of course, there with the Sun in your first solar house in Sagittarius conjunct Saturn there. You know, there's a lot going on in your solar house. So the Sun in Sagittarius with Saturn, you can imagine, is sharing like this glaring energy with each other. You know, it's like big heavy hitters, and it can sometimes make for an eruption, something like a volcano. So on Monday, the card that you've drawn is the Judgment card. This is a card that just indicates that whatever is going on presently is kind of a matter of everybody reaping what they sow. Now, that doesn't mean that when a person has some hideous life experience happen to them, that they must have done something to deserve it. Please. You know, we hear people say things like that. Well, karma's a bitch. Sure, but karma also is just something that people create, and it sounds like an ice cream topping at times. So we need to just remember that we do reap what we sow, in the sense if we go do bad things in the world, we're probably going to be associating with bad people. And so then they're in our sphere of influence, they're influencing us, vice versa. So just keep that in mind. It's really not about some terrible curse from the gods. It's just life. And this is just kind of sometimes showing us, hey, so you're taking finals and you flopped? Well, did you study? Like, no, Rita, I didn't really turn in any homework either. I was so sucked into the Jerry Springer show. And, well, okay, then you're going to get what you expect to get, because that's the effort you've put in. Now, sometimes we don't get a fair grade, a fair shake, you know, don't even get enough points for extra credit work because, you know, maybe the teacher's cranky one day. We're like, whatever, forget it, move along, and hopefully not have to interact with that person again. Tuesday, we've got the Hermit in reverse. I think for you guys, it's going to be more about doing some soul searching than it is for the adults that have a different scenario. You guys are going to really be asking yourself some questions like, what does it all mean? Do I even want to know at this point? Well, we've got some astrology that kind of convolutes the issue, but I think that you guys are more fluid and will be able to understand what I'm saying probably a lot easier than your adult counterparts. So Tuesday, we've got Mercury and Sagittarius trining Uranus and Aries. So especially for you guys, there could be the idea that a girlfriend, boyfriend, some romantic situation, whatever, to whatever level that you're involved in. If you don't have this or you're not allowed to involve yourself romantically with anybody, this would be your creative pursuits, and maybe you did deserve more points on some of your final projects and didn't get them. So just take it with a grain of salt. If there are interpersonal relationships, what can we say? Relationships come and go. We're emotional people, though. We wish for it to be a fairy tale. Never let that hope die, but understand that humans are humans. That's why we're somewhat frail and that we can make mistakes because we're not computers. And even so, can't software glitch up? Yes, so even problems happen with computers unless they figure out how to run themselves and code themselves. Mercury and Sagittarius also will square Chiron in Pisces, which is your solar fourth house of home and family. So there could be some issues there around the holidays. We know that there could be relatives or disagreements among parents, whether they're co-parenting or fosters are involved, that kind of thing. Mercury and Sagittarius will sextile Apollo and Libra, talking about really being more of a group effort kind of mentality with your friends, where you don't really have to choose one leader like Apollo would say, but all of you are locking arms and sticking together, which is a beautiful energy to have in your solar 11th house. When we have the Sun in Sagittarius sextiling Ceres in Aquarius, this kind of energy is one that says communicate clearly, make sure that you're paying attention to how you come across, because it isn't so much about loose lips sinking ships. It's more like loose lips can hurt people's feelings. So make sure to keep information that comes to you to yourself, because it could result in a power struggle, and that's what Ceres wants us to remember. Now on Wednesday, we've got the Five of Cups in reverse, which is great, because if you've had some heartache or some disappointment, you realize, okay, that's enough. I've mourned this. I got to move on. I got to get myself out there jogging. I need to dance. I need to move. I need to do a sport and get my mind and body in alignment with a higher energy level, and that's good for you. We've got Mercury and Sagittarius opposing Psyche and Gemini. Psyche and Gemini wants us to remember that, sometimes it requires an effort to put your differences aside and take your relationship, your friendship to a deeper level and transform it into something that no person can tear apart, because you trust each other. And that's a really wonderful thing, because in life, really, the people that you can count on to be your real true friends are not always as many in number, and you don't need too many of them, but you sure do need some good friends. Thursday, we've got the Eight of Cups in reverse, which you need to be careful with, because you guys, it could indicate that you revert back to a habit, a situation, or even a vice that is not good for you. So it could be that somebody smokes around you and then you want to smoke. Uh-oh. You got somebody who's drinking and they want you to drink with them. Oh, crap. Because with Saturn in your solar first house, I guarantee you if there's a time to get caught, it's right about now. Mercury and Sagittarius semi-sextiles Bacchus in Capricorn, which is really about, hey, look, if you got a few dollars in your pocket, the last thing you really need to be doing is handing them over to another person so that they can buy their cigarettes and or cancer sticks. So remember, you need to put that money in your pocket so that you can take care of yourself and maybe even buy your supplies as you need them. Mercury and Sagittarius trining Minerva and Leo is talking about the need in your solar ninth house to be open and upfront about what it is that's going on. Let me just use a crazy example. Let's just say you were smoking pot or something and get caught. Now your whole family's involved. It becomes a legal issue. They're going to have to put you into some kind of rehab. You're going to have to drug test. And all of this because of one moment of excitement or freedom or escapism. Well, the issue is that Minerva's going to demand that everyone use their heads here, and that we use our smarts and our wits about us, our intelligence and our wisdom, to be able to say to each other, okay, so this has happened, but look at how far this has gone. Look at how much this is going to cost. I have a nephew that gets in trouble like this, or used to make a habit of it. That was a lot of money that was just being poured into the court system because this kid couldn't figure out how to stay sober. And remember, with Mercury and Sagittarius sextiling Cupid and Libra, it's also saying that this fun party atmosphere with your friends is going to be short-lived, and who wants the clink door slammed on them? Your friends are not going to come rescue you there. In fact, they might just rat you out to get a better deal themselves. Friday, we've got the Tower in reverse, of course, touche. Mercury in Sagittarius squaring Jupiter in Virgo is where reputation and fame comes in, and you could wreck your reputation or get yourself known in the court system over, again, a moment's fleeting excitement, which I love, you guys. I love your energy and I love your dynamic spirit, but man, trust me on this. Screw it. You do not want to get in that kind of trouble, because then the law is on you, as it should be, to protect you from probably yourself. Venus enters Scorpio, giving you more of a sweetness, an ease in maybe your solar 12th house being Scorpio, in making sense of the past, putting it away, understanding that even if this is bittersweet, that we don't want to repeat patterns from the past. And even if you get that feeling that you've come in from a past life of being a heroin addict, sure as hell doesn't mean you're here to repeat that again. The lesson is run away from people that would pull you into that crap. Queen of Wands in reverse here on Saturday indicates that there is a fire sign female. She could be a very feminine male, you know, the whole thing. But this is a person who is probably Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, rising signs, and or they just appear to come across that dynamic. The Queen of Wands in reverse, the problem is she talks a lot of smack. She has a tendency to play telephone with people, spreading gossip and spreading information that isn't vetted out or verified. You know, like, I found out that so-and-so's pregnant. What did you just say? This little girl that's never been with a person in her life? What kind of crap are you spreading? So be careful. Hopefully this isn't you. I don't believe it is, but you know, if you don't have something nice to say or anyone else does, then maybe nobody should say a damn thing, and let things be what they are and not get other people riled up or hurt their feelings. So the Death card on Sunday here is talking about the end of a cycle, a season, a phase. This, of course, would be relative to your experience and what you feel a cycle could be. Maybe you are starting puberty and the body is going wacky and changes are occurring. Well, there we go. This is when we start the season of growth. Maybe you're getting facial hair and going, oh, look at that, 4 hairs. I've almost got a full beard. You know, maybe this is the indication that you're growing it up a notch. You're moving into another level. If you're already a teenager, you might be the ones that are getting ready to really hammer it and lock it down with your grades so that you can position yourself a little bit better when you go to college. Remember, don't sweat it. If your grades in high school were tanked because of personal reasons or any other reasons, you will have every opportunity to raise your grade when you make it into college, which is very simple for you to do. They'll test you. They'll figure out where you're at. They're not going to throw you into some kind of like trigonometry if you have no experience in this. We're going to work from where we're at right now. So allow the past to become what it was, and to stay there and transform the future into whatever new experiences you want. Sunday here we have the Sun in Sagittarius sextiling Mars in Libra. Again, just be careful that you don't get into unnecessary arguments or struggles with your friends. Use it to help motivate your friends to say, hey, look, you guys, we got to buckle down here. We love to be together. We're like the Three Musketeers. Are we all going to the same college? Are we staying local to the college? What are we going to do? Remember, I think it's a good idea to stay local for a year or two so that before you go on to university, you know how to go with the flow without having to worry about food and washing clothing and how do I survive? That's my advice, but that's just from my perspective. It seems like it would be a lot easier. Sun in Sagittarius will semi-sextile. Pluto in Capricorn, again, watch your resources. Watch what it is that you do with possessions. Be careful that you don't leave an expensive phone or bag or, you know, some watch of yours on a counter and that you lose it. Watch your possessions at this time because that's where the emphasis is. Also, Mercury in Sagittarius squaring Hygeia in Virgo, Virgo being your solar 10th house. Again, watch your reputation, and the best prevention here is cure, as Hygeia wants us to remember. The idea here is that if you don't want people spreading rumors about you and ruining your reputation, then don't do anything to affect this and keep your secrets to yourself. Mars in Libra squaring Pluto in Capricorn again. The 11th house, the friends, people. We just need to make sure that what we do in the world, that even if it is what you believe is harmless, somebody else could create a very harmful situation by starting trouble or talking about you. And at that point, my suggestion is always to let it go and don't make it a thing or get into some crazy redneck fist fight. Just let it be water under the bridge and learn your lessons for the next time these situations pop up. Have a wonderful week, and I'll be talking to you soon.